You're listening to Runescape Weekly for 6/29/2018. I am your host, not Magebit, with 14 years of RuneScape experience, or 13 years, or something like that. Joining me today is Magebit. How are you, Magebit?
I'm doing pretty good.
Cool.
That's not true, but hi.
You're here. That's what
I am here.
And we're going to have fun. That also matters. We have a great show lineup today. Topics include Broken Home, Temple of Aminishi, Enhanced Magic Notepaper, You Can't Be Serious, Why jagex, Open Discussion, Elite Dungeon Boss Pet, our 2018's PVM updates missing something, Live Events Team Devlog, comments from Live Events Team Devlog, You Can't Be Serious, Redux, Time to Quit, Mistakes You've Made.
I'm glad we got a quitting thread in there.
Well, anytime MTX comes up, we all know there's going to be some kind of quitting thread, so I guess I found the token quitting thread. Anyways, we will jump right in. We have a pretty awesome lineup. We're going to cover all the big things that happened this week. I tried to throw in some lighter posts because I imagine some of this shit's going to be heavy topics, at least, controversial topics. Maybe that's the best way to put it.
Definitely. Yeah. And I'm on a side of the fence I did not expect to be on this time. And this is interesting to say the least.
Yes. Yeah. You think you and I have both find this there. Yeah, it's strange times going on in the RuneScape community right now. Or just the gaming community at large and the MTX topic. But we will get to there. The first topic of the day we have is Broken Home quest bug won't allow anyone to complete the quest. I'm speaking on behalf of a friend who's had a quest bug for almost 2 years. He's waited a long time for a fix, and so have many others. This stopped him and many others who have the bug and glitch from comping/getting the quest cape, and it's not fair. His explanation is as follows. Alright, so basically, I was going through the quest and lagged out. When I logged back in, I was left at a safe spot, which is the room with the clockworks. However, the items that are required to progress are missing from my inventory, and when I went to trace it back into prior rooms, in other words, find the items again, they are missing, so I can't progress the quest. As you cannot reset progress until you've completed the quest, I don't really know what to do. I don't want to make this, and then this goes back to the person who made this post. I don't really want to make this post, but I have no choice but to tag a mod. Tags mod Shawnee. If anyone knows how to fix this bug on their own, please comment. Any help would be much appreciated. There are some people in here, of course, I think a lot of the community will think this as well, saying things like, you can reset progress if you exit the manor and talk to the crying girl, but the biggest problem that this person has is the quest is broken and this is their first time through it, so you can only reset it after you've done it once. Yeah.
That's a real pickle they're in. Yeah,
and they said there's I don't see them here anymore, but I swear before there were comments of someone linking to like forum posts or so there's a lot of people who are having this issue, and unfortunately not a single JMod has responded. So that's kind of why I put it on the show, in the hopes that if there are any JMods listening, we can get the Broken Home bug looked into, because
it's such a good quest too. So I would really like to see that fixed, because honestly, like, if I'm coming into the game as a new player, Broken Home is one of the quests that I recommend to new players who are looking for a little bit of an excitement, or maybe are looking to dip into quests but aren't really sure if they like quests. And of course, if they are a fan of the horror genre, if they don't like horror things, then that's totally different. But that quest in particular, I think, is very well done. So I really would like to see it functional. That makes me sad to know it's not functional anymore.
Yeah, and I'm guessing it's not for everybody. Like, I think it's probably only if you get X-logged at a certain part. It's probably what's causing this.
I can see why this could get past QA, because this sounds like a pretty specific scenario that probably only happened to a handful of people.
Yeah, absolutely. So, if there are any JMods out there, please give this person a response, or just fix it. Either one works.
Just fix it.
Yeah, I'm sure it's easy. Programming's always simple.
Yeah.
It's clearly just
there's
lazy
gotta be
J
just a
mods.
number in there.
Yeah.
But this was posted 6 days ago and no JMod response, so
Yeah.
keep that in mind. Anyway.
All right. Also, hey, Crasp. I don't. Q-Rasp.
It's Crasp.
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 Crasp. Okay. See, I can never figure out how to pronounce names on Twitch, but welcome. All right.
Very common Redditor. I see their uploaded posts all the time. Keep the content coming. Anyway, continue.
Yeah, that's where I know that name from. I see Zenel's name all the time on Reddit now too.
Yeah, snarky comments constantly.
Yep. All right. The next topic we have here is Temple of Aminishi. I'm going to read the little game update blog that introduced this to give everyone a little bit of background on it. So, Temple of Aminishi, the first elite dungeon, is finally here. Discover what schemes and foes lie behind the great doors of the Temple of Aminishi. As you delve into its halls and corridors, you might even be able to meet the Azure Serpent itself. The only requirement to participate in the Temple of Aminishi Elite Dungeon is completion of the Port Sarim quest, Impressing the Locals. You can team up with up to 2 other players via the grouping system, or attempt to solo the content directly for more lucrative loot. This is a great opportunity to train Dungeoneering a little bit differently, while at the same time gathering tokens as you progress. There are 5 sections inside the temple, each of these packed out with factions, mini-bosses, and along the way you'll run into challenging bosses blocking the way to the final encounter. Should you fail, not to fear, your progress will be saved and you can head back in and continue where you left off, skipping to any unlocked checkpoints. For those who want a more lore-filled experience, you can attempt to play the content in the story mode, a mode which monsters are toned down significantly, but the rewards suck.
Yes, they do. And I mean, there was an actual use for story mode for the first couple of days when story mode still gave 5,000 tokens per mini boss kill, and you could just kill those mini bosses at 33% of their damage and then just leave the dungeon and keep killing the mini bosses. It was a great way to farm tokens, and you could turn the tokens in for even more Dungeoneering XP. It ended up being like 800,000 or 500,000 Dungeoneering XP an hour, depending how good you were. And by just converting your tokens into XP at the trader in Daemonheim. Unfortunately, that has been fixed, and now they only award 500 tokens.
Yeah, they kind of probably over nerfed that. I don't know, like right now,
1,000 tokens would have been fine.
Yeah, story mode kind of serves no purpose now because like you can't.
It's practice mode is what it is, if you ask me. It's so you can learn the mechanics of the boss and then you go into regular.
It is, and to me, what it should be is like the master quest. Like you can get the master Questcape books from it, but they made them super rare as compared to the regular one, so it's not time efficient to do so. Which to me,
unless you're absolutely afraid of combat.
Yeah, exactly. But to me, that should they should have the same rarity. Like quest books, you don't have to change the rarity on those for a story mode. It's a very strange thing to do.
Yeah, it does seem a little silly, especially when Master Questcape really isn't supposed to be hindered by combat, which also is a total lie considering how many lore books are dropped from elite mobs and stuff like that. So I call kafah on that, but whatever.
Yeah.
Continue.
And I totally agree. Like, it was kind of cool that the story mode was giving out a bunch of tokens, but it was like 300,000 tokens an hour. I mean, that's broken as hell, right?
I loved it. Yeah, it was. That was like currency event broken.
That was beyond currency event broken. I have like 400,000 from like every currency event ever. Like 300k like tokens an hour. Spend like 20 hours doing elite dungeons, and you never have to do dungeon again. Like you would.
This is why we have you, because I can't do that kind of math apparently. Yeah. You'd surpass a currency event in a day, easy. Yeah, you're right. Wow, that definitely needed to be nerfed.
Yeah.
But they nerfed
maybe
it
too
to
far.
The floor. Yep. Yeah.
All right.
Oh well. Yeah, we'll see what happens.
They're still doing balancing and stuff.
Yeah, this is definitely still being, and that's why like day one I was like, I was not really like, Pern was getting a little salty in the video if you check it out. I was just like, nah, I expect to die about like 100 times, and I ended up not. I only died like 6 or 7. But continue.
I've been meaning to go back and like kind of rewatch the last stream they did about Elite Dungeons, because they compared it to God Wars 2. And I guess maybe the first 2 bosses are comparable to God Wars 2, but the third boss isn't close to like God Wars 2 comparable. So like I think
No, it's not.
they might have done a little bit of a bad way of like setting expectations for that.
Yeah.
But
I would say the end boss is a little closer to Nex, a little bit, not on par with Nex difficulty, but probably around Nex difficulty.
yeah, next or Rex, something around there.
Yeah,
sure.
And that's just the end boss. The other ones are they're cake. The Claudia boss is pretty cake once you know the mechanics, and the middle boss is also not too bad. He can. I'm still actually kind of learning him, to be honest with you. I need more practice on the middle boss.
Yeah, and I mean, like, I think like a lot of that experience too. Like, I went into that too, expecting to die a lot day one. But if you don't have a lot of experience with like doing bossing in a lot of games day one, you might not expect to die a lot.
I died to regular NPCs day one because I'm so not used to, fighting NPCs. It's just not generally what I do. Even though I have like 200,000 abyssal demon kills, those don't count. They're AFK.
But even if you go back and like watch my stream, you can hear me getting angry at it too, because like that's just what dying a lot does sometimes. Anyways, we shall move on to enhanced magic notepaper. Should be magic logs, not elder. Consider that magic logs are much more abundant and will require. Okay, this person edited this post a lot since they've made it pretty clearly. Consider that magic logs are much more abundant and will require a bigger item sink. On the other hand, elder logs are only obtained from one place, and that is AFK and elder trees. There's also not good GP. They're also not good GP in hours, so it's not like a lot of people bother. Also, not to mention that it's magic, not elder. I'm pretty sure this person edited their post heavily from originally because the comments kind of tear them apart, but we will continue. TLDR changed the cost to 410 magic logs instead of one elder log. Edit, make it.
I'm so confused at this point.
10. Yeah. So basically, this person is arguing that magic logs should be used to make enhanced magic notepaper, and originally their primary reasoning was that it made more sense because magic logs. Come on, magic notepaper, magic logs.
Yeah, I get the connection there, but the amount of magic logs in the game would destroy the value of magic notepaper, which will let me remind you was originally a treasure hunter item, and I think still is as well, exclusive to treasure hunter.
It still is.
So there's no way they're going to do that. They may consider doing it with a higher tier log, but like magic log seems like you could literally just be printing paper at that point, which is no pun intended.
Well, I think Mod Sovo or Sova wraps it up pretty well here. Not happening. Too many PVM things drop magic logs. You want notepaper, you cut trees, or you buy from someone who did. My MO is basically to add value to skilling. Also, do some research into the components required, and I'm sure you'll find a way of getting both. So this guy's post, like I said, is heavily edited, which has made this topic way harder to cover. Because originally he was complaining about component costs as well, and so he's kind of removed that part. But I completely agree with Modsova here. Like, I understand if you think about it purely from a pie in the sky place, like magic logs. Yeah, sure, they make some sense. But if you think about it from a profitability standpoint, like elder logs are what should have uses because therefore it'll raise the price of them, right? And so that's the goal of this update.
What if you need a certain like you need to grind down some magic logs into magic sawdust, and then you take that magic sawdust and you slice elder logs into papyrus, and then you infuse the papyrus with magic sawdust, thusly giving you magic notepaper. So it requires two different items plus the cost value of having to create them, yada yada yada, skill levels and all that bullcrap. And then maybe like if it's super hard to make them and that only produces like 5 magic notepaper or something, then maybe, I don't know. But like you can't just say like, hey, I have 800,000 magic logs in the bank. Can they just be magic notepaper, please? No.
Yeah.
Silly.
Well, there are, this is an invention thing, so there is components and stuff tied to making them. But yeah, I would agree with your idea. Like if magic logs was one of the ingredients required to make this paper, it would make sense. But like elder logs should still be the primary ingredient because elder logs should be the thing they're trying to make valuable. not magic
Yeah, I
logs.
agree.
Like,
You can also obtain magic notepaper with Thaler for 500 Thaler, 100 magic notepaper. That is the biggest ripoff of the century. That is highway robbery.
yeah, and I
Anyway,
mean, like, magic notepaper is honestly super cheap nowadays. Anyway, it's like
yeah,
1.5k per thing.
I love magic notepaper.
Oh
It's
yeah,
great, and yeah, you can almost note anything with it and still make a profit. That's why it's so easy to get a hold of. It's great. Anyway.
yeah. And I'm glad that Modsova basically says nope, we're trying to make skilling profitable, so that's what we're gonna do. It's a great.
And I love to
response.
hear like the mods reiterate that they're trying to make skilling profitable. Like just the fact that it's not something that they just said once and we're like, I hope they're still working on that for my sake. Like I've seen mod Stu, now mod Sova, mod Jack. I gave mod Jack Reddit gold because of his defense of the mining and smithing rework. Just it's nice to see all these mods actually care about skilling, because I say we as the skilling community, and I'm speaking on behalf of them, even though no one has given me authority to do so. But we've felt pretty left in the dark for the past like 5-6 years.
Yeah.
Anyway,
and
that's all.
I mean, the one argument that I can kind of see here is one that you should be able to gather magic logs more quickly. I actually think adding like a quest lock, or like maybe add like a masterwork like system to elder trees, where the more trees you chop, the faster you can chop logs. That way you have like, because right now it doesn't make that much money to chop the logs, whereas I would love to see more skills where if you put in more time you gather resources faster. That'd be awesome. Such a great system, and it would keep kind of botters away, or just people who don't want to put in that grind away. But if you want to spend 20 hours, 50 hours even, doubling your
300
cut rate. Yeah. Well, I'm saying, yeah.
Well, here's what, because you just gave me an idea, and it may be a horrible idea, but I have to pass it by you to see what you have to say about it. So past 99, instead of having to fill those skill spaces with actual physical things, what if for certain production skills or resource gathering skills, it just made you more efficient, made you faster at production or gathering? Like that's what 99 plus could be for skills that it's hard to add more content to. Is that a thought?
That's a great idea. Something like that. Yeah, absolutely.
That's I'm gonna put that one on the pegboard and come back to that at some point, because it's not an interesting idea. It could be potentially game breaking, depending on the balance. And
well, make it super slow, right? Like make it take like a couple 100 hours to actually be noticeable. That way the only people who are going to do it are people who are like really super committed to it. Like that's how you balance it out, right? Because like
if you're 120 fishing, I mean you put probably a couple 100 hours into that.
Yeah. I mean, I think the biggest reason not to do that would be then it would be buyable, right? Whereas if you make it a masterwork system, then it's not buyable. You actually have to train it. So that might be my biggest issue. Is like, PBMers would just buy like 200 mil fishing and then be max masterwork or whatever you want to call it.
How do you buy a gathering? I understand buying a production skill, but how do you buy a gathering skill?
Treasure hunter.
Oh, for the bone. Oh, I got you.
Yeah.
That makes. I keep forgetting that exists, and you just keep traumatizing me with it. Oh, you're right. Okay. Deep breaths, Magebit. You live in this world. It has to be like this. Accept it. Deep blue oceans. Deep blue oceans.
Deep blue oceans. That's the bad part, Treasure Hunter, right there. It's the fact that you can just buy. But I mean, it's expensive, but buying skills outright is a little bit fucked. Anyways,
not a fan.
Let's go right on to the next topic here. You can't be serious. Not only is the armor ridiculously expensive / hard to get at the moment, it's currently impossible to get it within 35 days if you want to buy the scales in the first place. So basically it requires, this person is complaining because it requires 420 scales to make the new tier 92 armor, and the current buy rate on the GE is 2 scales per hour. There's a comment here from one of the J mods. Let me find this so we can. Oh crap! He deleted his comment. Well, that's
yeah, he did. I was looking at that.
Why?
Well, I think they were planning on buffing the buy rate, and they may have gone back on it. I don't know.
Well, they probably changed their mind because people complain about this so much. Anyways, what the comment essentially said was, yeah, we're going to slowly increase buy limit over time. This way, uh, the price kind of it's basically to maintain value. It's like we're going
Yeah.
to slowly increase buy rate over time to maintain value. If you want the armor quickly, you can go and earn it yourself. And basically, the community rioted about this, and it's not really something I agree with. I actually really love this approach to a slow rollout.
It's price control. I understand why people could get mad about that, but we have a very fragile economy here. So yeah, I understand where they're coming from.
Yeah, exactly. Like these are the kind of things that people don't like. It's the same reason I say, all these new alchable items they're going to add with minus 15 rework should not be tradable. It's a price control thing. Like this is this is a little bit frustrating to deal with, and I get that, but the value of it is more important than the frustration a few super rich people feel. Like if you really want it, you could go solo. Like if you're rich enough to afford this armor, that means you are good enough at the game that you could just go solo elite dungeons and get enough of these quickly enough. My guess is jagex will...
keys. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No problem. My guess is, like you said, jagex is probably gonna walk this back and end up buffing their rate considerably. But it was a great idea, and I wish they wouldn't do that.
I think it would have been an interesting idea to do and see how it worked, but there was a lot of pushback on it. And yeah, I mean, the fact that the mod deleted their comment, I think is pretty telltale of what their plans are.
Yeah, and it's sad because like jagex, this is one of the cases where I think jagex listens to the community too much. And it's a great example of it. Like, if you make something and you think it's a good design choice, just because the community yells about it does not mean that they're right. And like parts of like the RuneScape subreddit kind of have too much control over the community in some ways, because you can even see this with like, I found out this was kind of put in the PSAs on Monday. The lockout on the raid pet is going to be removed, which is the silly thing that they repolled. That poll only passed by 1%, and
that was such a sham of a poll.
Yeah, and last time it only lost by 1%, and they repolled it. And I literally sent a comment out to the mod talking about it, like, "Are you gonna repoll it again because it lost by 1%?"
Yeah, and who are you gonna restrict from voting this time?
Yeah, it's not like they're gonna
just
respond
until you
to
get
that.
the answer you want.
But like the whole reason that got repolled is because Reddit yelled about it. Like I highly doubt the majority of the community cared about that poll, but Reddit did, so therefore it gets walked back. And like I think game developers and jagex specifically need to watch very carefully how much they listen to the vocal minority in the community. Like I think it's dangerous to listen to them too much.
Yeah, there's definitely and the problem with that is because it's Reddit is literally the embodiment of a paradoxical like being, a hive mind that literally fights against itself. You can't listen to Reddit because Reddit is literally contradicting itself at any given time because there's so many different opinions on it. And the
way we've seen like systems like Reddit work too is like angry people are more likely to show up and like upvote other angry people. So
people like drama.
So you don't actually get a good reading of what everyone's feeling. You just get a good reading of what the pissed off people are feeling, which is not an accurate view of the community.
Always, before you log out, if you had a good time, check the thumbs up box. Let them know, because Reddit is not a good example of what the RuneScape community is. It's just a good example of how jagex tries their hardest to mediate the angry individuals who show up, and I think they do a pretty good job overall. But anyway, enough de-sucking here. Continue.
All right. Next topic: Why did jagex make Elite Dungeons of Raids-like content while Raids is still unfinished? Not only that, but it's being released in batches, which I thought they said were going to move away from as part of their unfinished business stuff. That's the hottest take I've read in a long time.
Why did jagex make Elite Dungeons raid-like content? I mean,
when raids aren't finished.
I feel like raids were an experiment, and the name's just an unfortunate choice.
Yeah, raid. Well, I mean, like the truth of the answer is raids never lived up to being a raid.
Yeah.
So jagex went back to the drawing board, and also raids didn't have enough popularity to deserve a part 2, so he didn't get one. But also, Elite Dungeons aren't a batch. we got an entire dungeon. It's not a
Yeah.
batched. It's not a batched update. Like it's
Yeah, a
such.
dungeon a month? Like, come on, what do you want 3 dungeons at once? You can't even. There's way too much stuff to even do at once.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing? You're just complaining to complain. He's complaining. This has, you know what? This has nothing to do with Elite Dungeons and everything to do with the raids. They're just mad that raids got left behind because they're probably one of the few people who actually enjoys raids. Like, probably plays it even when they're on lockout. Which I'm not making fun of them for doing that or anything. I'm just saying. Like, I think this has nothing to do with Elite Dungeons and everything to do with the fact that they're angry that Raids isn't getting the love that they wanted to get.
Earbay Deity has a great comment here. Why is this batch content meme catching on? Are you even capable of critical thinking? How the fuck is this batch content? And then of course the number one reply to him: show me somebody who's wearing a full set of tier 92 armor. And of course the logical response to that's like saying AOD or Magister or Solak is batch content. We get weapons released in quote-unquote batches. Like, it's so silly that people think that you can't release armor in different stages.
This is the problem with humanity and their ability to just interpret anything the way they want to. Like,
this is the problem with absolutes, right? Because, like,
yeah,
jagex is like, absolutely no more batches, and so everyone's just looking for an excuse to be, oh, nope, see, that's a batch. You lied to us.
Again, this is just looking to be angry to be angry. That's all this is.
Yeah, I put this in here for a good chuckle.
It was good. I liked it.
All right, moving on. Let me see. Okay, so second to last topic about the Elite Dungeons is an open discussion about the Elite Dungeon boss pet. And just to give everyone and you the background of what I want to talk about here, the Elite Dungeon boss pet is basically a slightly remodeled version of the spirit dragon pet from the Ark. A lot of people were super angry about this. Because it felt like jagex was just being lazy and all this stuff. I wish I would have saved this post, but there was even a post on the subreddit that said if jagex can't make a raid boss or can't make a boss pet, then they can't make 120 summoning. Which was like the biggest logical like fallacy I've seen in a long time. Just like
clearly the boss pet was a rush job to allocate resources to more important areas to get this update out on time. That's how I interpret it. I mean,
well,
yeah,
but the boss pet also makes sense lore wise. Like Siryu, or however you pronounce their name, is supposed to be a giant spirit dragon.
Yep.
Like that is what they are. So yeah, you could argue that I wouldn't say it was rushed. It was like, hey, maybe rush is the right way to put it, but it's like they're trying to pump out Elite Dungeons super fast. If these are popular and they get them out on the schedule they want to, there will not be enough time to make boss pets for all of them, right? Because they want to put out like one Elite Dungeon every like 3 to 6 months for the next who knows how long. Like that's a lot of boss pets to make, and like I love boss pets. I love pets in the game. But I would care more to see regular raids coming out or regular Elite Dungeons coming out than I would be to, have every single one have a boss pet. Like, I like boss pets, but boss pets could come at a later date and it's not a big deal. And also, like, for this boss, to me, it makes perfect sense. Like, it thematically makes sense for this pet to be what it is. So I think people are just a little bit, once again,
I don't know what maybe I'm just easier to please than the average person, or I don't know, but I just wasn't bothered by it at all. I was just like, oh, it's a it's a dragon. Okay, cool. I like pets. It didn't faze me. It never even crossed my mind that it was a recolor or rework. I was just like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think the state, and once we get into the MTX stuff, this will be even more clear. But like, I think the state of jagex's relationship versus a certain part of the community, obviously not all the community, but this vocal part of the community is just low. Like I see this with like PUBG, even like just the Reddit part of the community just wants to hate on jagex. So like anything they can find to hate on them for, they absolutely will. And that's kind of where this Elite Dungeon boss pet thing comes from. Because I agree with you. I was like, oh, that's a cool pet. And everyone's like, but it's a just and I'm like, yeah, I don't care if it's just a rework of the other pet. Like, it thematically makes sense. It's
Everything
pretty.
doesn't have to be brand new.
Yeah, seriously. And like,
I feel like these people are loading up the game and like pulling out a magnifying glass and getting up on the screen and be like, oh, what was reused? What did they didn't make this from scratch? Those mother, like, come on.
And I also think, like, if I remember, one of the JMods recently was too, like, they are spending more of their effort like updating monsters. So like, Elite Dungeon 2 is gonna have a bunch of new dragons in it, and like that's where they want to put their time. It's like
they made a new dragon system. Like, so like more dragons can be made in the future, like, quickly. And how cool is that? As
much as I love pets, that stuff is way more valuable than another pet that's completely unique being in the game, you know?
I would agree with that. I feel like, again, this is just finding things to be angry about because you're just angry about probably a different thing underneath, and you just want to roast Jagex for, I don't know.
Absolutely agree with that.
Yeah, I don't know. I've been there. I've been there literally last year.
Yeah.
So I understand why people are feeling like this.
Yeah, it's we might make fun of it, but as long as people aren't like harassing JMods, I don't have a problem with it. And it's just people like being critical passionate feedback about the game they like.
Yeah, like that's, and I was talking to someone about this the other day. Like, they were saying like, I don't know how Jagex handles all of that. Like, how do they take that feedback constructively when it's so negative and just like blatantly offensive in some cases? And you have to look at it like as almost as these comments are not coming from like people. You have to like interpret them. It's a different language. I guess that's a better way of saying it. Is like internet speak is almost a different language, and it's not okay to talk to people like that. But like that's how you interpret the feedback. You have to like look past the horrible shit to find out what people are actually trying to say to you. And again, it's not okay, but it's a strange culture that we've developed online. And it's bizarre to me, but it's
yeah, I agree with those people though. Like, more power to any like JMod or whatever that can deal with this, because it is extreme. Like, there's a way to give constructive feedback that isn't like you could just be like, hey, this, like, you can make a post, hey, this boss pet is just a copy. I would like to see boss pets in the future have more work put into them, and then you could have like a real dialogue. But when you come out swinging, like, it just doesn't make you look good, and generally doesn't start a good dialogue, right? Like dialogue is important, and dialogue requires some level of civility, and it's something that definitely I think Reddit is not good at curating, because as we said earlier, like, what gets popular on Reddit is the opposite of civility. It's like the more pissed off and angry you are, the more likely your post is going to blow up. Yep.
So that upvote is literally mob mentality, like in its electronic digital form.
The more shit posty your post is, the better chance it has to survive.
On Reddit, shit rolls uphill. Anyway,
that's pretty damn true. All right, so the next post we have here is from Malad. I don't know if that's how you pronounce his name, but he's a pretty big RuneScape boss streamer. And it is, the PVM updates of 2018 are missing the mark in terms of reward. Between Solak and Elite Dungeons, the encounters alone are very well done. They're very engaging and mechanically interesting. Figuring out how to kill Solak on release was the most fun I've had in the release of a boss ever. Being a month out on that boss, everybody has figured out how to kill it, and the fun from its initial experience has worn off. In a game like RuneScape, where what incentivizes players to continue the grind are rewards, we are hitting a stale spot. Unfortunately, it seems that high-end PVM community are unhappy with these updates overall, and it stems from the fact that people don't have a reason to grind them apart from completing a log or re-obtaining IFB. Similarly, this is what's happening with Elite Dungeons. To put it simply, the reward tables is not thought through enough for the system Jagex has, with a very few big PVM updates. So he's basically saying there's not very many PVM updates and the system's not well thought through. The system relies on the community coming together and grinding out until the next big update. The problem with the updates so far from 2018 is the players don't want to grind these updates as the rewards aren't there. I really think JMod should reevaluate drop tables, item effects of the current drops to make the uniques more useful.
Are they
Specifically,
requesting more diversity in items, or are they just saying they're not making enough money to make it worth their time? Or I'm not 100% sure where they're going with this, but continue.
we can wrap that up at the end. We'll answer that.
Okay.
Specifically, I don't understand why Theodore's Grimoire, a 2018 endgame boss reward, is the equivalent of Enhanced Excalibur for Prayer. This could literally be a Slayer monster rare drop, and nobody would think it was out of place. I assume
Agreed.
this drop was going to be a range ultimate Fortic auto attack replacement ability, and since that was scrapped, this was the result. This drop had the potential to be a Praesial Codex of Solak, but it missed the mark. With Elite Dungeons, why is there no set effect for Tier 92 Srenic? The marginal damage bonus you get from the upgrade really, in my opinion, is not enough of an upgrade to justify all the development work that went into the update. I don't see the ancient scales holding their value very long with them in their current state, and the fact that all future PVM content for 2018 being more of the same just kills my hype months before the release. So the idea for changes that could help with this, and I'd like suggestions in the comments as well, include a Theodore's Grimoire. Increase the effectiveness of your prayers by 2% for 1 minute on top of the current prayer effect. Elite Srenic has a 1% chance per piece to reset cooldown on basic abilities. I really think jagex needs to rework these rewards if they want to keep PVM community happy and willing to play their content for months and years to come until we get new content to fill their spots.
I love the idea of set effects on elite items. So, I mean, you had me at set effects. I think it adds niche uses. Good.
There is nothing I disagree with overall in this post. But the main reason I bring it up is just to compare and contrast this with like the current state of the skilling community. Like you could change everything in this post to be about skilling, and it would describe skilling for the last 10 years.
Yeah.
But if you try to talk to someone who is at the high tier of PVM, they won't even listen to that. And I don't know Malad very well. He seems like a pretty cool dude, so I'm not calling him out specifically. I think this is a very well written post, as we were talking about earlier.
It was.
It's not accusatory. Like it's a brilliant post. But just the stark contrast of this versus where skilling is versus how the community treats skilling versus PVM, like skilling update. Like let's look at what we got deep sea fishing.
Mm-hmm.
Right after it comes out, major nerf to it, profitability goes into the toilet. Like,
although I mean, to be fair, there's still other great additions to the game from deep sea fishing. Although I think its most attractive feature being the what is it called? The traveling merchant is honestly just a variant of the motherload maw that's more accessible to people to help with endgame comping and whatnot. So again, that doesn't really have anything to do with fishing. It just happens to be fishing themed.
Yeah, and I mean, you can also get good XP there. I think it's best XP in the game post a certain level.
Sure.
But like, that's not like if Solak was best combat XP in the game, that
people would be doing Solak.
Well, no, people wouldn't make them happy. There'd be no motivation because Solak's like there's the combat XP doesn't need a buff, right? Like fishing XP didn't need to be better. Like,
yeah, that's true.
What we need to see, and like I agree, these combat things should be reworked. But I would hope that people who think this about combat could kind of reapply this.
Combat, honestly, and I hate to say this after EOC, but combat kind of needs a rework. Like, accuracy needs a rework. Agility needs a rework. Like, so many things need to be reworked in combat that I don't know if we can ever get there. But
that's a fair side. Yeah, I wasn't meaning it in that sense, but you are right in that sense as well. Yeah.
But so I mean, I understand where they're coming from, even though I'm on the other side of the fence here. And I agree that these things definitely need to be looked at. Arethodor's Grimoire is pathetic for a tier 92 boss. Like the amount of...
Yeah, you look at the top, like the number one upvoted comment here. Totally agree. To say money isn't a large factor in the effective fun to a boss is completely naive. As of right now, there's virtually no incentive to do Solak or Elite Dungeons over AOD unless you really, really don't care about making cash. Like, it's just funny to me to see those comments and be like, yeah, like
That's how skillers feel too.
There's also effectively no reason to train any skill in the game over kill Telos because it's better XP per hour to kill Telos and then spend that money on bonds and then like an XP and GP per hour. Like you might as well go earn GP at the best at the hardest at the most profitable boss in the game and then just spend that money on XP because you will make more money than if you tried to skill past 99. Like and that's broken and like it's amazing to me like combat gets a little taste of that and like people are already riding in the streets about it, so to speak. And like I am a PVMer, like I said, I don't disagree with this person's post at all, but I just it's an interesting contrast, and I hope that jagex does. You're right, the how you pronounce her name, Arithidor's grimoire definitely needs some changes. I mean, he compares it to the codexes from AOD, which also needed changes when they first came out. So I think jagex will probably change it. It's just sad to me because I bet you that like in 3 months, Solak and Elite Dungeons will be better profitable, but skilling will still be in the same place.
Maybe. We heard earlier in the show, we have JMods out there that are on our side. I just don't know how many of them there are.
Yeah, there's progress being made in the right direction. I just hope that it pans out.
I have to say, your analysis of skilling versus PVM and the ability to basically take a transparency and overlay this same argument with skilling. I just wanted to point out that that's pretty brilliant. So kudos to you there. I just wanted to give you credit where credit is due.
Thanks.
Anyway,
so yeah,
continue.
jagex, please consider changing these, but also keep in mind that skilling. You know what? Let's update shifting tombs and give me a way to make like
I love shifting tombs.
7 million an hour there.
Please make it useful, or at the very least, make it 1 million engineering XP an hour. For me. Love me.
I would be okay with an XP boost, but I'm more worried. You're the problem, Magebit. You're the problem. You're like, give me more XP. I'm like, give me more GP.
Only for dungeoneering. The only thing I want more XP for.
Yeah, I'm just.
Would it be crazy if I took all my money from killing Abbey demons, bought bonds with it, and then just bought lamps on Treasure Hunter and maxed out dungeoneering that way? Would that be just the most like stupid thing to do?
Yes, it would.
I hate it so much, Hannah.
Just do your dungeoneering daily. I've started doing that daily. We
need to start a public fund where people get together and just do sinkholes with me.
And I'm not even talking about sinkholes. Like you have 99s in every skill. Turn off every single daily except for dunge.
I have, yeah.
Okay, so then you'll get the dunge daily. Do small floors, complexity 6 with guide mode on. You can get the floors done. 2 floors. You extend the task. Do 2 floors. It takes less than 10 minutes. You get a few 100k experience.
I hate it.
I understand. I definitely understand.
I understand where you're coming from, and I agree that I should be doing this. My flaw is that I'm really bad at doing anything consistently.
Same.
So like I'll do it for like a couple of days and then I'll forget, or I'll do it and then I'll know I'm supposed to do it again, but I'll get this weird anxiety that I like prevents me from doing it again, and I don't understand why.
I'm literally like the exact same way, so I fully understand that. I'm preaching to you about doing dailies when I've like been doing them for like a week. So like you realize that I'm the same way. ISO in chat says you'd be better off buying dunge leeches than keys for dunge, which is actually probably fair. Yeah. You could just buy some leeches. True.
Leeches would probably be a lot cheaper. And I've thought about that as well, and I probably will end up buying leeches if dungeoneering ends up being my last 120, I will buy leeches.
I think the one way to get Magebit
might be my last 120.
Magebit to get 120 dunge is introduce like a true max cape, and then you'd be forced.
Oh yeah, definitely. If you introduce the master max cape, I will be 120 by the end of the year and everything. I can do that. I'd be serious. I'd probably be in the hospital afterwards, but I would do it. Continue.
We shall move on here to the live events team dev blog.
AKA the beginning of the end. Just kidding, obviously.
Would you mind reading this? Because I need to get some water.
It would be my absolute pleasure. Let me just get a little closer to my monitor here, because I'm blind. Early's getting there. This is posted by Mod Salin, and this is live events dev blog number 1. So hopefully we're going to get another installment of this. So it says here, welcome to the first live events devlog. Over the past few months, the live events team have been hard at work on various projects, one that change up the playing field for Treasure Hunter and more. We've identified areas in which we can increase the value of what you can get when playing whilst offering a larger variety of both offers and more. So that's what we'll be discussing in this first blog. We plan on bringing these out more frequently when the team have significant progress we want to update you on, so keep your eye out on the forums for any updates we may have. To start with, we wanted to give an update on Treasure Hunter 2, which we mentioned had been started back in 2017. After a great deal of work on this project, it became apparent that we had been working to provide what wasn't what you, the community, had wanted. After much toing and froing, we decided that we would be best to take a different route entirely. As such, Treasure Hunter 2 is no longer in active development. So what does this mean for live events, and what are we working on? So providing better value. For us, Treasure Hunter always feels like a benefit when used, and we feel that the value of what it offers needs to be addressed properly. Recently, we've been bringing back and testing out different promotions and initiatives on Treasure Hunter. So we have some improvements here. It says we've recently been offering people the chance to earn oddments in the store instead of cashing out prizes. In June, we brought back to run alongside other promotions this month to see how people used it in a longer term. It's gone well, so we're looking to bring back this as a permanent feature, which I think is great. Like, the cash out values were pointless and lame, and no one would ever want to do that. Even for some like super rare items, it was just pointless to cash them out because 500k, I'd rather have a lucky item than 500k, to be honest with you. Even though I'll never wear the lucky item, it's just, hey, I have a lucky item and you don't. And that's literally the only thing I care about at that point. Anyway, however, instead of using oddments, we're looking at ways we can revitalize a currency that we already have in place, Hearts of Ice. And again, I love this because I have like over 15,000 Hearts of Ice. So hearing that Hearts of Ice is probably going to be an oddment-like currency coming up very shortly might mean that my Treasure Hunter experience is about to get a lot more granular for me. So that could be dangerous for my addictive personality, I have to say, but overall it sounds like a positive improvement for Treasure Hunter. Hearts of Ice currently require a lot of management to provide any real value, so we want to make this easier and provide more meaningful benefits within Treasure Hunter. Being able to directly purchase various items, reroll unwanted prizes, or boost charges and promotions such as Generator are all things we're currently looking to add. Can you imagine if there's just a promo on Treasure Hunter that you want so badly, and it's just like, yeah, it's 10,000 Hearts of Ice, and you just happen to have, 10,000 Hearts of Ice lying around because you never wanted to use them. Bam, you could have that rare item right there. Oh man, that sounds great. I love how that sounds. Now, obviously, this is just a giant like cash grab, but it's a good one if you ask me. Like it's less predatory, but at the same time, like literally, my brain is forming an adult arcade in my mind. This feels way more arcadey than predatory. Like, you have casino and an arcade. I feel like we're going more from casino to arcade, and that's a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, like,
Hearts of Ice feel more like tickets than they do chips. Go ahead.
Yeah, adding like I don't know how this will play out, but talking about adding more value for what you're doing is good to me. That means less to me. That means less RNG, less motivation to like buy 500 keys or go ham.
Now on the other side, more value to some people means more OP promotions, more XP grabs, like double, triple lava lanterns or something like that. So that can be interpreted negatively as well.
Oh yeah, it definitely can.
Advocate. Go ahead.
It definitely can. You are 100% right.
Shall I continue on here?
Yeah.
Cool. Prize refresh. This is interesting as well. I think you might like this. The base reward selection of Treasure Hunter has become a little stale over time. There are undesirable prizes and old filler items that don't feel rewarding or interesting to earn. We're now looking to give Treasure Hunter a new reward base, a complete overhaul, rebalancing the earnable rewards to things and make them much more interesting and desirable. So I love that. Like, prize refresh is always good.
But this is also terrifying because if this means like Elite Skilling Outfits V2, then I have a major problem with it.
Yeah, but I think that's addressed a little bit later on, sort of, and we'll get there. First off, though, there's new key packages, which, of course, immediately sounds suspect, right? Like, Okay, but when you investigate it a little further, it says in July, we will be introducing a daily key booster, allowing you to increase the number of daily keys you receive when logging into the game. For a small price, players will receive double their normal daily keys allowance for 30 days. Whether it's a free player jumping from 1 to 2 keys or a Premier Club member jumping from 3 to 6, this will provide everyone with great value. And just to provide a little bit of insight that I received from Reddit, you will be able to activate this for 1 bond, it sounds like, or at least that's what they're planning on. This isn't final, but 1 bond is the rate that they have kind of tossed up in the air right now. And that sounds, again, totally fair, and it's going to prop up bond prices. And I know you don't like that, but I do.
You do until you. I'm looking for like Magebit in a year from now when you're used to buying membership off bonds, and then you're gonna be angry.
Every time bonds drop like 2 million gold, because it happens, it just happens. Like my net wealth drops by like 30% for like a day. I'll log in and my gain will be like down 500 million gold, and they'll be, what happened? Did I get hacked? I was like, oh no, bonds are just down 20%. Like that's one of the problems with having a lot of bonds, or having your cash in bonds, is you could be rich one day and poor the next day if you're not careful. A greater focus on cosmetics and engagement. Now this is where the prize refresh and kind of like comes into play here. I think maybe, I'm not 100% sure here. I might actually be the next one down, improved life cycle. But this is interesting. Greater focus on cosmetics and engagement. This is, in my opinion, the best thing they could do for their monetization model. And honestly, if this is successful, I would replace Treasure Hunter with this if they could. And I don't think they will, because I think they're greedy. But if I was in control of the company and I didn't have overseers, bending down on me, telling me what to do, I would replace Treasure Hunter with this system. Allow me to continue on here. Our long-term goal is a greater focus on cosmetics and content engagement. We've been experimenting with cosmetic-only promotions and testing the limits of our time-limited in-game events. However, feel this is something we can take even further. Inspired by other games, next week we'll be implementing Rune Pass, a pilot event in which you'll be able to earn items through the game by just playing it. With 2 prize tracks, you can either play along the free path or pay a small price to access the golden track, which provides you with a larger number of prizes and more cosmetics. Rune Pass comes with a variety of challenges and tasks in order for you to progress through its levels, whilst also awarding you with progress for simply earning XP in any part of the game. A player of any caliber will be able to take part and earn levels, although if you want to access those top-level rewards, you'll want to make sure you're completing the challenges that Rune Pass throws your way. You'll be able to access our first Rune Pass next week, and will make your progress until Sunday, the 15th of July. This 2-week event acts as a trial to which we'll collect feedback and monitor how people play before deciding on whether or not we'll pursue it as a larger project. So this is just a test. If you like it, let them know. If you hate it, let them know. If things need to be tweaked, let them know. This is essentially a beta for Treasure Hunter, which I don't think we've ever really had before, and I think this is a really cool idea that they're running a pilot to see if it works before just shoving it in our faces. Now, there's an image here on screen that shows the free tier and the Rune Pass tier, of course. The free tier looks pretty sparse. Would you agree?
Yeah, but that's relatively.
That's to be expected, right?
That's basically how all these work. Like people most know these from Fortnite, but these have been in like Dota 2. They've been in Counter-Strike, and now even PUBG has one. So usually the free pass
PDO as well.
PDO has them. So usually the free pass has a few rewards, and the paid tier has a bunch more stuff. But the nice thing about these is usually what you can do is, you don't have to buy it till the last day. A lot of times, I think you'll get, a lot of times they'll give you some kind of like XP boost if you buy it right away, and maybe jagex will do the same thing. But the thing about these is like you can progress through it, and then like say you don't make it the whole way through, you're like, I don't want to spend the money on it, then don't buy it. But if if you're able to complete the whole thing within the 14 days and you want to put the money down on it, then you can basically after the fact. Yeah.
So you could put the work in and then decide if you want to buy it.
Exactly.
So that's pretty cool. So if you don't make it, you don't have to invest the money and then realize you can't do the last challenge and then get pissed off because you spent the money.
At least that's how these usually work. Obviously, jagex doesn't entail that here, but I would be surprised if this doesn't work that way.
Yeah. Now, one thing I noticed here is the free track has the Ocean's Archer bow on it. I'm guessing that on its name, but I own it. And I'm pretty sure I paid for it, but that's fine. Because they were mentioning releasing all cosmetics over time into the game
Yeah,
for
I think
people
that's
to obtain.
the next thing if you want to read that.
Yeah, that I'm segueing into
Oh,
this
okay.
improved life cycle for all items. So I think Rune Pass might be the way that occurs. Is what I'm trying to say here. Is if Rune Pass is successful, and I think it is, I think it will be, then they will be able to use the free tier to introduce cosmetics that have previously been, pay only to people, and you'll be able to put the work in and obtain these items without having to pay for them. And I think that's a genius way. But let me go into that further here by explaining improved life cycle for all items. One of the frustrations we regularly feel from players is the inconsistent approach to how we make items available throughout the game. We are sitting on a vast back catalog of items that Treasure Hunter and Squeal of Fortune, which players can no longer obtain, many that have otherwise been lost to time. Fish Mask comes to mind. Outfits that were unfinished, cosmetics unobtained. This we want to change. We have started work on a new life cycle plan for all items. This new system will mean that every old, current, or future item will follow a consistent life cycle, moving from being exclusively available via Treasure Hunter all the way through being available to free players. So literally free players, not members for free to play players, which I think is a noteworthy thing there. This is the approach we are already taking with certain Treasure Hunter items, but we will now apply it to our entire back catalog of Treasure Hunter items. In the future, it will end up in the future, it will be up to you when you want to access a bit of content rather than missing out on it completely. Again, a fantastic change, in my opinion. Better communication with you is the next topic. This blog is the first step in a larger effort to talk about you and our plans more. Last week, we ran our first live events forum, and in the near future, we'll be reinstating the live events showcase, in which our mods will be in game to show off their work, as well as give you an opportunity to chat with them directly. You know how those always go. Every time live events gets the stage, people just lose their mind.
Yeah, we were talking about how does Shawnee deal with the hate or deal with all this shit, but also really the live events team are the fucking saints because they put up with so much hate anytime they do literally anything. It's a real shitty job to have in some ways.
Daddy's saying that sounds like bullshit. Well, which part sounds like bullshit to you? I'd be curious to know so we can talk about it more. Because I'm honestly intrigued by a lot of these things, but a lot of people seem to be really upset by them, and I want to know. I want to know rationally why, instead of just it's bullshit or it sucks. Because how do we improve on it, or why is it bad? Or because apparently everyone has a slightly different thought process. Obviously, we all have our own different personalities and whatnot. So I'm curious to know from people who have processed this information and decided that it is a bad idea, why? Because everything that I'm coming through here sounds like improvements to me, but I've been able to make some devil's advocate arguments, but not very many. And I think the biggest one looming in my mind right now is probably the fact that there's no way Treasure Hunter is going away, and they're just piling extra stuff on top of it, and this is just more microtransactions on top of more microtransactions. And there's literally now more monthly things that we have to pay for. If I got to pay for double keys now, that's another bond a month I got to worry about. Anyway,
let's finish reading this because I want to address everything you're saying, but I don't want to say it before we're done.
That's fine. Then that's good because I'm laying the groundwork now. Can I read Fatty's response before I continue?
Sure.
Let me just see. It says, going to take much more than cosmetics to sucker me in. Gotcha. So not a cosmetics fan. That's totally fine. Let me continue on here. Where was I? So first step in chatting with people directly, expect a stronger presence on RS Live Events Twitter account and potentially dedicated server on the official RS Discord to chat more directly with the community. That would be fantastic. I would love to see that, and I would love to have a chat with the live events community. I think it's important to have an open line of communication with with the only branch of the company that literally is a game breaker. They can break the game very easily. They're not the only branch. Let me rephrase that. It's probably easiest to break the game with a Treasure Hunter event than almost anything else. They have to be balanced very carefully. Otherwise, you end up seeing people with 100 million XP gained in a single day. I've seen in certain events, and it just makes me so angry because I'm one of the few people that actually care about XP. But I digress. So what does this leave us? Here's a handy list. Treasure Hunter 2 has been shelved to provide the following. Oddsman Store is now available on a permanent basis. We will be rebalancing the base Treasure Hunter rewards, providing more value. We'll be adding a new package, which will boost your daily keys allowance for a month. Hearts of Ice will be reworked, giving you more benefits and uses for them. Launching Rune Pass, a pilot for a new reward system, providing access to cosmetics through play. And then they're very specific about that. It's providing access to cosmetics through play, where this is not boosting your XP in any way. And I like that.
But they show proteins and stuff in that.
That's true.
Reward
That's
tier thing.
You got to use those in the game, and like I'm not.
And lamps. There are some lamps. I don't know.
I'm not too upset about a one and a lamp here or there, but anyway,
we have to we have to see the full reward tier before I feel like we can. Anyway.
Life cycle system, all treasure hunter items, both new and old, to be made available through various means, and that's a little sketchy. Various means, I don't like that. That could mean anything. I'm not, and again, they say free, but it just means it could be a lame way of obtaining it that doesn't need to be. It's like, I liked your Rune Pass idea, stick with it. Better communication.
Well, no, but like you have stuff like elite skilling outfits that are put in the game very well as well. So that's like probably what they mean by various paths, stuff like that.
That's fair. I jumped to conclusions. Better communication with the players, getting active feedback, and more personal conversation. Hey, why don't you come on the show? You want to have some personal conversation? We can talk live events. If you want to talk live events, we'd love to have you. And that is, as they say, is it. Over the following weeks, we'll be getting an active calendar of communications out to you so that you can see what will be striking some news next or actively engaging with the community. In between, you can always find myself at jagex or tweet the specific account, RS Live Events. And I did. I told them I think that what they're doing is great. I didn't receive a response, though. But come
on, Jagex.
So,
you know what? We take it all back. Like, your ideas are terrible.
I love these ideas. Keep it up. I'm glad to see some positive changes. I got no answer.
Their account is probably flooded with the exact opposite, so they don't even probably haven't even seen your comment.
That's probably true. I hope that as they're wading through all the negativity, they'll come across a tweet, and at the very least, they'll be like, someone, a normal human being, is still on the internet. I'm not normal if that doesn't give me away. I'm sure reading all the responses that Mod Salem have posted here would be delicious, and I have already, but I don't know if we should read them on the air. That would be maybe a fun mini project where we sit down and just find all of Mod Salem's responses.
I have some of them
Go for it.
already out, but that's the next topic.
Okay.
In the document.
Yeah.
So before we move on, I guess I will read Adalon's in chat here. I personally look forward to new content. The pay-to-win /MTX content does not bother me as much, but I can see the argument. If you take pride in grinding and putting grunt work in for a nice character, hardcore Iron Man, by the way. I'm glad they're making mid-low level content, so when I finally get decent combat stats on my Iron Man, I will be able to enjoy stuff like elite dungeons. Yeah, so I feel like we should preface, this might be a long topic, and it will probably, the rest of the show is basically just topics about this, so this will probably be back and forth about this, but we should preface with, like, if you haven't listened to the show a lot, or even if you have, you may forget this, but, like, Magebit and I are not people who like microtransactions. Like, we think...
I don't know if there are gamers who do.
Yeah, they're
only game developers who do. You're right. That's a total lie.
Yeah,
sorry.
They wouldn't be successful if there weren't gamers who were. Obviously, I think a very vocal part of the community doesn't. But once again, vocal doesn't mean majority or even all that stuff that we said earlier. But I'm basically saying something I've realized personally over the past few weeks, about. I feel like I have to preface this in what's going on with in PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, another game that I play a ton of. So that game started out with when they added microtransactions to that game, they put in loot boxes that you earn with an in-game currency, and then you have to buy half the loot boxes. You have to buy a key to open, and that system has always pissed me off. 2 months ago, they released their first skin that was like, here, pay $5 and you get this skin up front. And then a month ago, they did the exact same thing again, where here's other skins. You pay $10 up front and you get these skins. That's a system I vastly prefer.
Me too.
PUBG subreddit got angry about this, the fact that they were charging upfront for skins. At the same time, we haven't seen a new treasure chest, to put it in RuneScape connotations, in that game since they've started doing this stuff. And then about the same time that they introduced more pay for upfront skins, they introduced an event pass, basically exactly like a rune pass, and the community has lost their shit over it. And I've realized that I have very different expectations as to what I personally want from microtransactions versus what other people want. Like, in a perfect world, I guess I would want to go back to no microtransactions, but even as I say that, like, I look at a game like PUBG where I don't ever have to buy DLC for that game because of microtransactions, and as a broke ass person, that's actually kind of amazing. The fact that I can pay $30 for a game once and then play it for 10 to 20 years without having to put any more money into it is kind of amazing. But
sounds like a good deal.
My biggest issue with microtransactions has always been the predatory side of them. RNG loot boxes, back in the day when skilling outfits were online treasure hunters, having in-game boosts locked behind predatory loot boxes, things like that. I have always been, I want more straightforward, less predatory microtransactions, and to me, that's a lot of what this devlog is. That's what Rune Pass is. Rune Pass is, hey, here is a straightforward way where you just have to play the game and do these mini achievements and you will get rewards. There's no RNG to it. You know what you have to do and you know what you get when you do it. And the same thing with, like, they're talking about rebalancing Treasure Hunter to make it more valuable, more rewardable. Hopefully that means less egregious RNG. We don't know what that means yet, but that is my hope. So this whole devlog here was something that I personally was kind of hopeful about. There's still stuff I'm super wary about, as you said. Like, to me, if Rune Pass is super successful, that means that they have to tone back Treasure Hunter. You can't have both of them. Like, that's broken.
And a membership. Like,
yeah.
$11 a month, and Treasure Hunter, and Rune Pass, and Rune Metrics Pro, and double Treasure Hunter key. Like, yeah, come on.
Well, and action bars buyable, and buying
those are at least
presets.
A one-time thing.
Well, yeah, but action bars aren't that bad, but presets are insanely expensive.
Yeah, they're like $20 a preset.
And you have very few of them in the game as is, so it's kind of
I still have them all locked. They never have them on sale. I want them on so badly. It's so annoying to have to overwrite presets.
Yep, it absolutely is. So yeah, I absolutely understand people's argument there that they can't do all of these things. But there has been, like, a backlash to Rune Pass specifically, and that it's somehow, like, anti-consumer and, like, a bad system. But if Rune Pass was the system that, like, if Rune Pass straight up replaced Treasure Hunter, I would be so happy. Because once again, it's straightforward.
Yeah.
And honestly, like, I would even like to see, I don't know if I said this on the podcast before, but, like, Treasure Hunter, in my opinion, if they ever wanted to keep it around for forever, and there's a chance that they might have to close it down anyway because loot boxes are being cracked down on, that honestly might be part of their motivation for trying out Rune Pass.
Bring it on. Yeah, I was thinking that too.
I
remember I said months ago, like, you got to think of an alternative system, because when the floor drops up from underneath you and you got to get rid of Treasure Hunter, you got to have something in your place, or you're going to lose hundreds of millions of dollars a year. Well, here's Rune Pass.
Yeah, and that day is getting closer and closer. So yeah, I mean, like, I understand some people's hate for this, but the community at large went, like, super duper negative instantly. And I understand, because this isn't what we wanted to see, right? Like, I would love to see, like, Treasure Hunter is going, like, for me, if you want to keep Treasure Hunter around, make it XP focused, but make all that experience bonus XP. So basically, Treasure Hunter exists, loot chests still exist, but you're literally just opening them for bonus XP. I don't want to see straight up XP given into the game, and I understand people's argument that giving away XP devalues skills. I really do, but the other side you have to look at is we are playing a 17-year-old game and it needs a way for new players to get in.
That's why I argue that bonus or straight XP or whatever for anything that's under level 99. That's fine. Once you get over level 99, you're literally just you're just competing for bragging rights at that point. That's when it becomes competitive. That's when bonus XP should stop working, or at least straight lamps should stop working.
That's completely valid. I would be completely okay with something like that too. That's totally fair.
It's like I don't give a crap about 1 to 99. I care about everything.
Yeah, but there seems to be a certain subset that very much cares about, like, there's no bonus XP allowed in the game, and like there has to be, whether it's bonus XP or just straight up able to buy levels, like something like that has to exist at least 299. And obviously you shouldn't be able to just buy a straight up 99 skill, but personally, like, I could see a future where
it should be quick to get there,
where you can buy, or I can see a future where you could buy a character that, like, all skills level 60 or something, right? Because like people, and I am kind of wary to compare World of Warcraft to RuneScape, and we actually have a topic about it later, so I won't touch on it too much. But like in World of Warcraft, you can buy a character that's 10 levels under max. Like, that's a thing. It's a precedent even in all. There is no paid to play MMO. Like, people like to complain that, like, oh, this game does so much and it's also pay to play. Like, every pay to play has some form of the stuff that's in RuneScape. RuneScape is definitely more egregious, but it's also not anywhere close to a free to play game. So like, let's not kid ourselves that like these microtransactions are like what a free to play game would be. Like there's people who, like, I might have it in a topic later, so maybe we.
I just like Elden's comment here.
Go on.
I do not mind treasure hunter paths as long as they are attached to the game and rewards are decided by the level of commitment to the game and not the size of your pocket. Like, that's, yeah, and I feel like that's what Rune Pass is, right? It's about your commitment to the game and not the size of your pocket. Yes, there's an entry fee. There's an entry fee to do, to have a hot dog or whatever. Like, entry fees exist for any type of activity. It's a service, and right. Yes, you're a member of the game. There's a free path. Go for it. It's part of the membership. Anyone, or it's not even, you can play it for free, it sounds like. So, but point being is, yes, it's a microtransaction. It's a pilot program. It's currently on top of Treasure Hunter, but this could be posed to replace Treasure Hunter in a couple of years if it, stays strong. And again, as you were saying, the loot box pressure continues to hold.
Well, and also, like, the criticism that I would like to see right now in the community is not Rune Pass sucks. I would like to see Treasure Hunter sucks. Hey, if Rune Pass is successful, will you lessen the stranglehold that Treasure Hunter has on the game? Like, that is the progress I want to see made in RuneScape. Is systems like Rune Pass taking over what Treasure Hunter has traditionally done. Treasure Hunter becoming less and less of a focus and possibly going away at some point. Obviously, this dev blog does not promise that, so I understand the frustration. But to me, that's what we as a community should be pushing for and what we should be asking jagex for. Like honestly, I plan on buying Rune Pass, and I am using my voice on this podcast to say, hey, jagex, I am buying Rune Pass to show you that I want you to do this in the future and not Treasure Hunter. Like, that's why I'm buying this, and that's where I want to see things go.
Yeah, Rune Pass is the right direction. Let them know. Vote with your wallet. If you can. If you can't, do the free path.
And tell them on Reddit, too. Tell them on Twitter. Like, let them know that I don't want Treasure Hunter to stay around. I want Rune Pass to be here. Straightforward microtransactions are a good thing, not a bad thing. And like, there's a lot of arguments about it's pay to play game with microtransactions. The other thing to keep in mind about this game is audience size. So we obviously don't know how many players there are, but like, there's maybe 1 million, maybe 2 million total people who play RuneScape. We're not a giant community.
Holy butts!
Died to read, dropping the 1,000 bits.
Yeah. Wow!
Yeah.
Thank you very much. That is epic. You're gonna be the top tier for quite some time, I would assume.
So
many thanks. Good.
Yes, thank you very much. Let us. There's some other things that I've kind of half cutting back what I want to say, because I know that I have a couple more topics that will bring this up even more. So we will hop into that. The next thing we have to talk about here is just some comments that were made on the dev blog. So someone cut out the comments that were being made. Trem on the dev blog post. I'm not sure I fully understand what's being changed. A lot of our main concerns were broken promos and new promos getting added being more and more overpowered. Another problem is how many promos we have been getting. We are back to taking no break between promos and no time for new promos. You're giving us more keys and constantly pushing more treasure hunter in our face. It is rather broken being able to max from keys or get a massive 200 mil drop, or with some promos being multiple 200 mil drops at once, leading to anywhere over 1 bill. Which this comment is like a major overreaction. Like 200 mil is so rare on the drop table, like it does not happen often enough that it's game affecting. We've already kind of discussed the fact that being able to max from treasure hunter is actually not necessarily a bad thing. It's also supremely expensive. And
if you max via treasure hunter, you should probably seek a therapist.
It would cost you
Unless you're like
couple $100 a skill. Even if you're playing and using the bonus XP, it would still cost you $100-$200 a skill. To me, a controversial statement, but obviously, I think giving straight up XP away is kind of fucked. Like, let's be honest, and beyond kind of I hate it. I really would love to see all that stuff turned into bonus XP only. But as far as if treasure hunter was literally all just here, gamble for bonus XP, and you get different amounts depending how lucky you are, I would personally be a huge fan of that. So Mod saying replies here, at the moment we're playing with different ideas of how treasure hunter could work. We're aware that this is what players want, but you can't just hard switch from one to another. The Rune Pass is a pilot of something we're confident in, and we hope it resonates well with the player base. If it does, it gives us a better long-term plan for RS. So, as they've said in the article, and I don't think they made it clear enough, but to me, that comment right there makes it clear that if Rune Pass is a runaway success, that means they can redefine treasure hunter. They can't just remove it, as much as we would like them to. They have to make money. There's a lot of people who work on this game, and there are companies. The company that owns them is going to want them to turn a profit. This is capitalism, right? You run a business to turn a profit. That's what you do. So this comment here really kind of gives me a lot of hope that they're aware of that, but they want to try out stuff and see what sticks. And then Trem says, with all due respect, this has been an ongoing problem for quite some time, and I feel like with the backlash from the last year, we all know very least frequently OP promos can be toned down. And Mod Science says agreed. And Treasure Hunters 2 started as a way of tackling that. It became apparent that it wasn't the case, unfortunately. A lot of work went into making a big change, but it wouldn't have tackled either player needs or game health. It has been a back to the drawing board type of situation, but we're confident that the gradual approach, instead of a quick, huge turnaround, is a safer option for everything.
I agree with that. You don't want to sink your own ship in an about face, You don't want to capsize yourself from a rough turnaround. This isn't Sea of Thieves where you can just drop the anchor,
If they just turned off Treasure Hunter tomorrow, and then we're like, okay, let's hope that we can sustain the game off of that. It would not be pretty in 6 months. Things would not pan out very well. And then this comment here, Trem said, the problem a lot of us have had with Treasure Hunter is that Treasure Hunter has been shoved down our throats nonstop, and how it has gotten to the point where you can buy a 99 or a top tier item for a few $100s. The game has turned into pay to win, which this comment is just ridiculously. You can't buy top tier items in the game for a few $100.
It's ridiculous to say that.
You can buy
chaotics. Unless you're going on a black market. Literally, unless you're going on a black market, that is just blatantly false.
Yeah. Modcam. I have not had this experience. The bouncing chest, which shows you have daily keys, can be closed with one click. You would need to spend much more than a few $100s to get from 1 to 99 in any skill, and the highest tier items are level 80, not tier 90 or 92, and that pretty much sums it up. Once again, I have frustrations with Treasure Hunter, but we can't overreact. The game is nowhere close to pay to win. Like, it skirts the edge, and there are some things that push it past.
This is not pay to win.
But yeah, this is not a pay to win game, and there are issues. It's not. Don't want to minimize that.
Sometimes RuneScape skirts the line, but they haven't pushed. The game is not pay to win. I would not put it into a pay to win.
Yeah, like I said, like if you haven't played a free to play game, you have no idea how egregious shit this shit actually gets. And that's not to say that jagex hasn't messed up. They clearly have, and there's things I want to see change. But it's and also Treasure Hunter is
following the industry standards. You know, they did what everyone else was doing at the time.
Yeah, Treasure Hunter is not shoved down our throats like at all. Like, you get one tiny box in the top left-hand corner of your screen that you hit X on. And maybe once a month you get a pop-up about keys that you can buy.
Some people are more sensitive to that stuff than
But
others.
if you think that's shoved down your throats, like, I don't know, go install Clash of Clans or go install BDO and just see the difference in, like, or hell, go install Elder Scrolls Online, and you'll see the difference of what an actual free-to-play game that wants you to spend money constantly on their microtransaction system looks like. Because it doesn't look like RuneScape. RuneScape is pretty damn calm. And yeah, like Modcan says, it would cost a few $100s just to get $199 in a skill. Like, it's not as bad as people think, and I think that's important to keep in mind. And it doesn't mean I don't want to see change, but we have to be honest about what's actually going on. Anyways, anything you want to add to that?
I think that was a good discussion.
All right. Let us hop on to You Can't Be Serious Part 2 on a completely different subject. You can't be serious, jagex. Look, now you want us to pay membership at an increasing cost, us to pay for in-game conveniences such as presets, bank boosters, wealth evaluator, legendary pets, absurdly priced. Runemetrics doesn't work properly. Treasure Hunter, worst of free-to-play, brought to pay-to-play. Solomon's, holiday events, removed Easter, Christmas, etc., and replaced with macro transaction events. And now you want us to have a battle pass in the mix? Here's my feedback. Either scrap membership, focus on Rune Pass, and have the usual MTX. I'm not a fan of this, but the game is being free to play is the only way you can justify this excess. Leave membership bundle with all presets, bank boosters, etc. with the membership. Open up a cosmetic shop, a proper one, not Solomon's. Make it flashy, make it attractive, and I guarantee you can make bank. Which you could also pair with Rune Pass. My preference, and I understand your overlords, which fuck the Chinese overlords racist bullshit, to be honest, need regular sweet paydays. You will have amazing PR for this. Many returning players and a thriving community of people happy to shell out for cosmetics. Keep screwing us customers, though, and we won't be here much longer with this multi-directional screwing. Even with the gradual and slow erosion of value, and normalizing the free-to-play tactics won't work forever. And as we said, like, I actually somewhat agree with some of the points this guy is making. I think that some of the stuff that they charge for, like presets and bank boosters, are kind of messed up. Runemetrics, I don't think is messed up. I think Runemetrics is a great way to add value to the game and to add an extra charge, and I personally love it. Like, that's, to me, Runemetrics is another great example of where they should add value to the game. You know, it's something completely optional.
Having an actual drop log that I don't have to actually like manually log is amazing, and then I don't have to trust a third-party piece of software to read the drops on the ground. I'm not going to do that.
Yeah. It's it's like, it doesn't alter gameplay. Like, it's a bonus feature that is then charged for. Unlike if you look at presets, which are, I would argue, not a bonus feature. Like, that is a gameplay feature that feels broken to not have enough of. We have
bringing up adventure capital. Shit, that's a freaking pay-to-win game.
Yeah, Adelin's saying Runescape is not pay-to-win. Like, have you even tried Adventure Capitalist? Like, yeah, advise anyone who thinks RuneScape is pay to win to like go download a free to play game on iOS or something and see what it's actually like. Like this comment, one of this guy's comments in this Reddit post: Treasure Hunter, worst of free to play, brought to pay to play. It is not the worst of free to play. It's honestly like the best of free to play. And I don't mean that as in good, but as in like the least egregious thing a free to play game could do is Treasure Hunter.
If they are strictly free to play, yeah.
Yeah.
Which this game is not. But yeah, I think he raises up a valid argument, and that's again going back to the Rune Pass argument. I think Rune Pass is a great replacement for Treasure Hunter. I know it's not going to replace it immediately, and they even said that it's a gradual transition. They're not going to do a drastic about face, but this is a gradual transition, and I think this is the right way to go if we want to hang on to our membership and all these other conveniences that are not necessarily pay to win, but they do add up as far as either on your wallet side or on your character's wealth side. Is, you have to also come up with money to play the game as well.
Another thing to add is like a lot of free to play, quote unquote free to play MMOs actually have a subscription. Like ESO, I don't know. I think Guild Wars 2 does even, but like I know that Star Wars does. I know that ESO does. Rift does. So
PlanetSide does.
They are free to play games that you can buy a subscription for monthly that gives you a ton of benefits. So
PlanetSide, literally their membership, I believe it like triples your XP.
Yeah, and that's what most of them do. It's like they drastically increase your XP. I think the ESO one gives you access to all the expansions, which you would have to buy if you didn't have membership. Stuff like that. So like it's not like these free to play MMOs don't have it's a subscription. It's just a little less deobfuscated from RuneScape. But
Black Desert Online is not a free to play game. You have to pay to buy it, and then like every outfit in that game is like $50. It's like really expensive, and they provide actual bonuses that like you kind of need.
Yep. Yeah. If you think that microtransactions would not get, like, if you think microtransactions are bad now and you're like, just remove the membership cost and keep things where they are, like, things would get 10 million times worse if they removed membership costs. Then they, like, the best armor in the game would literally be buyable. Like, that's how BDO works. That's how ESO works. That's how Rift works.
I was gone from Rift for like 2 years. I spent $20 on right back in it.
Yep. Yeah, so
anyway,
it's just really worth keeping that in mind when you criticize this stuff. Like, I do not
Terra
like
does.
the place that jagex is headed, and the lines that they have crossed. But we can't over exaggerate what they've done. Blade and Soul.
I can keep going. My brain's just gonna keep popping out more MMOs.
Yeah, and let's hop on to the last microtransactions topic. Time to quit. Time to quit and play WoW. Another expansion full of quests, raids, and dungeon content coming in August.
WoW quests suck.
Valid. Actual live support. 99% bug-free, quality QA'd, and full alpha and beta tested content. No additional fees to pay for content apart from subscriptions, and a new expansion you buy once every 2 years. Mostly cosmetic MTX that is extremely manageable and has no impact on gameplay and other players' experience whatsoever. No terrible walking animations and cosmetics. I mean, that's subjective as fuck. I mean, this whole post is subjective as fuck.
So,
definitely. So first of all, I do encourage you to play WoW and buy the expansion that's coming out in August. I think it's going to be real fun. But also
do it if you want to.
Oh yeah, I know. I'm not saying you should quit RuneScape, because as someone who quit RuneScape for 7 to 8 years and played WoW in that time, it doesn't play anything like RuneScape. It doesn't have near the depth
That's what I don't
of
understand
skilling.
about this post.
Yeah. Oh, I should read this last paragraph. Stop being prisoners to Jagex' bullshit and start speaking with your wallet. They don't care, and as long as their financial statements are saying a completely different story than you're whining, they'll never. And
they never will.
Never will, and you won't see change. And we've seen so much change Treasure Hunter. I'm also sick of that argument. Like, think of Treasure Hunter 2 years ago, and like elite outfits were locked behind it, like Spring Cleaner was locked behind it. All this shit that's been put into the game now. Magic note paper, we talked about that earlier today. Like, they have made changes. They might not be as fast as we want to see, but they have made changes.
Yeah, and they made mistakes in the past, as we're talking, they're talking over in chat about putting armors and stuff on Treasure Hunter. Like putting the elite skilling outfits on Treasure Hunter. That was a mistake, but they admitted it and they've walked it back, and we're working to correct that. And it's happening slowly, but it is happening, and people don't give them enough credit that they are doing what they said they will do. It just, unfortunately, they're doing 800 other things as well. So like these things are in a queue. They take time, and players hate that.
And also,
we don't have very much patience.
As you said, quests in World of Warcraft, they suck. They are nothing like quests in
compared to RuneScape.
Yeah, compared to RuneScape.
I was gonna comment and be like, but like, WoW has no skilling. Like, how would you like bring a skiller over to WoW and make them content?
Yeah, WoW has professions, but they're not near as in depth as what they are. Like in RuneScape, you can run a poll and 55% of the community can call themselves skillers. In WoW, like maybe 5% of the community would call themselves skillers. Like combat is what you do in that game. Also, the argument that let's see, mostly cosmetic MTXX that is extremely negligible and has no impact on the gameplay and other player experiences whatsoever. Currently in WoW, you can spend $50 or $60 and get a fully maxed character. So it definitely has has a
whether or not the impact is negative is subjective.
Well, no, it says negligible, not negative.
Okay, negligible. Gotcha.
Which is not a negligible impact. Like if you started playing WoW at the beginning of an expansion and then got all your levels up and spent hundreds of hours doing that, some guy could come at the end of the expansion, buy a character, and be where you are, no problem.
Yeah, that's a slap in the face to a hardcore gamer.
And like personally, I have no problem with it. Like I get why WoW does this, and there are differences. I'm sure that we'll probably see comments arguing this. Like there are absolutely differences. Like people will probably say, WoW is an end game focused game. Tell me anything pre-level 80 that's worth doing in RuneScape. Like RuneScape is an end game focused game too.
Any MMO is. That's the point.
They released a mid-level player update last year called Menopause, and it was hated. Like, they can't release mid-level player updates for this game because people just riot about it. So, yeah.
Well, the high-level community riots about it, and they happen to just be the most vocal because they know where all the contact points are because they're veteran players. But, I mean, I get where they're coming from. It's like, we're not getting any updates. So this update sucks for me. But you got to think about other people.
Well, I'm saying that as a point that, like, RuneScape is about endgame too. Like,
sure, yes, but I would argue any MMO is about endgame because you're constantly working towards infinity, really, because it's a living, breathing game, and that's another thing that's a whole other can of worms, I guess, is arguing about the fact that XP matters because living games are ever changing, and you're always going to be earning XP in some form until you hit 200 mil, which is again another whole argument that I have a problem with, but.
And the people in chat are bringing up that gear is where you level in WoW, which is totally fair. That's 100% true. Like gear is the end game of that game. Like that's absolutely true. But like the whole point that I'm trying to make is that in the land of RuneScape, like pre-level 80 is not important. And I mean, you could even argue like pre-level 90, like almost in any skill. Like
you're starting to sound elitist, huh?
No, but that content, like, you do that content to get through it. You don't do that content to like do anything there. Like,
yeah, no, I get what you mean. It's a stepping stone in your journey. It's not your end destination.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people who are currently maxed forget that. Like, I feel like I have a closer connection to it because I'm not maxed. Like, it gives me kind of a different perspective and feeling.
Yeah, I just called you out on some elitist stuff right there. You're starting to lose touch the closer you get to max.
I don't know. I don't know if I'm starting to lose. I don't know. My point.
I'm just teasing you.
Okay. Good. I'm not good at reading teasing sometimes, but yeah.
I know.
Like, it's just, yeah. Like, especially like jagex has been addressing this some. Like we had the thieving update that made thieving trainable pre-96, but like so much of the old content in RuneScape is just old and feels broken. Like if I was talking to Naxtor, one of our listeners in chat last night. He's like, I brought 4 people into RuneScape in the past month, and like the first thing they've asked is, how can they catch up to where I am? and like that's what people want to do. Like if you the biggest way that a game like World of Warcraft or RuneScape gets new players is by friends of people who currently play the game. And if I invite my friend to play RuneScape, like the less time it takes them to actually be able to do content with me, the better. Obviously, you can't make it instant. Like there has to be something. World of Warcraft has made it instant, which is an interesting take, and I don't think it hurts that game. I think that if you could buy a max character in RuneScape, that would be completely broken. But some middle ground is a good thing.
Yeah, I'm open to discussion of a middle ground, but and I think, as you said, like a level 60 for someone new isn't an egregious thing. That isn't even that much playtime. It's probably like maybe 100 hours.
And maybe you don't need to do that. Maybe it can all be done in bonus XP. Like I personally feel like maybe that's the best route. It's like you still have to play the content. You just have.
They have a similar thing in the refer a friend system, right? If you're bringing your friend in and you refer them, you both get bonus XP for a period of time.
Yep, that is true.
So they have a similar system, and I wouldn't mind it expanding into what you're talking about there. Like, I think they could expand on that, and it wouldn't really cause any upset. It would be beneficial.
Yeah, I don't think we said this about the last comment, but the last time we talked about said to make Solomon's better, which I completely agree with. Solomon's needs an in-game interface and needs to be better on the website. Like Solomon's needs a complete overhaul because
that's garbage.
That could absolutely make them more money if it was more upfront. Take a look.
There should be a Solomon's team just pumping out like an outfit, or two a month.
Yeah,
in my opinion, but I just like cosmetics, so. What are you gonna do about it?
Yeah, I would. I would love to see cosmetics move more towards less game-breaking updates. Make all XP in the game bonus XP. Maybe change how it works. Like if we get rid of Treasure Hunter someday, that's the dream. Then maybe Solomon's, you sell a double XP booster. You spend, I don't know, $50, and you get a 1 month double XP boost or a 2 week double XP boost, something like that. Those would all be good solutions.
Yar.
Anyways, anything else to add before we move on from microtransactions?
I am done talking about microtransactions until Monday.
Till Monday. Is that when it comes out, I guess?
That's when RunePass comes out for its beta.
I guess I gotta make some GP.
Yeah, I'm gonna be interested to see what the tasks are. That's mainly gonna be my deciding factor. On whether or not I like it, because I actually have never done a Zodiac event. I don't like them.
500 times.
That's what I'm afraid of. It's going to be like, oh hey, you're over maxed, so we're going to give you stupid PVM tasks that are way too hard for you.
I imagine the tasks are going to be the same for everybody.
I hope so.
But yeah, I don't think they'll be too hard. But that is true. That's something I haven't really what it will be. Like you and I are someone. I'm kind of worried that RunePass is going to remove currency events from the game, which are some of my favorite events. Yeah, me
too. Pern hates them, but I love them, and I love that he hates them because I can just get so much bonus XP. It makes him mad. I'm catching up to him. Like I am slowly gonna pass Pern. I can feel it in my blood. I'm coming for you, Pernasius.
Better watch out, Pern.
I've been keeping my eye on his XP, and I'm coming up on him. Coming up fast. Also coming up on 117 strength, 37,000 experience left until... I'm sorry, 118 strength, rather. Coming up on 118 strength.
All right. So...
Just talking random shit, sorry. Go ahead.
No problem. Wow. I'm not complaining. I'm just moving us on to the final post of the day. All right. So this post is stupid mistakes you made when you didn't research. All right. So this person... I didn't know you could buy crystal flasks, so I spent a month skilling to be able to make them. So basically, this is just a thread full of stupid mistakes you made because you didn't do research. So Magebit, I'm going to ask you to come up with one. I'm going to read a few off here while you think about it.
Yeah, give me some time. I've done a lot of stupid shit.
So this person here bought Harmony Moss seeds from the store for ages, wondered how anyone could make profit from them when they were so expensive compared to the price of moss. Only discovered they were tradable once I got the thieving level to pickpocket them. This person, I tried to get Crackling 3 by using 5 explosive components instead of 4 explosive components and 1 imbued component, and wasted a lot of money. Yeah. that's a shitty one because Crackling 3 is not even that expensive, but if you try to get a perk the wrong way in Invention, it starts adding up. For a while, I didn't know that produce points from Livid Farm weren't spent when unlocking spells, so I ended up doing much more Livid Farm than required to unlock all the spells. I probably wouldn't have known that either. That's good to know.
See, I do stupid things all the time that like people. I mean, you could argue that I spent maybe like 100+ hours at Abbey Demons with no urns. That was a huge waste. People are mad at me because I'm not using a quiver. I don't have any of the tasks. People think my character is just really weird because of like the fact that I'm not maxed. I have like weird amounts of task sets done, like just stupid things that aren't done yet. Like I have weird other achievements that are just like
that stuff's more understandable. Like if you don't want to do it, like that to me makes more sense. So this is more like I can't think of.
I ran Dungeoneering back when it came out and didn't understand about the reset thing, and ran it at I ran completed dungeons for like the first 2 days and was wondering why I was getting garbage XP.
That's a great example right there. Mine is when I first came back to the game, I spent like the first 2 weeks. I didn't want to be poor in the game, so I made a new character. I had to make a new character, so I spent like the first 2 weeks tanning hides to make like my first 10 mil in the game. And I didn't know about portables at the time, so I was running in Varrock to the tanner back and forth because I didn't know portables existed. Wasted so much time doing that.
Portables are great. I've done some stupid things before when portables existed and I didn't know how to get I smithed I spent probably about 200,000 gold ore in Edgeville and I could have done it on a portable forge.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was I don't even know why I did that. I thought I could get 99 mining and smithing together if I mined enough gold ore.
This guy here, I didn't know how Sunken Pyramid worked. I farmed 3 Carapace's souls to put in my dungeon, traveled there, and promptly dumped them into the chest.
Oh no. Oh, that sucks. I completely unrelated, but I love that I don't know why it made me think of that Subnautica clip that you gave me from Baru when you put all this water in the trash.
Oh my god. That's the absolute best clip ever.
I love that so much.
I was watching live and I died. That's why I watch Admiral Baru, because he always does. So he always just like derpy shit like that.
That was hilarious.
You should link that. I have to find it again. Now I want to watch it. All right. This one is actually one I didn't know was a thing. So, disassembled a set of Zeros and a Makor for Aftershock perk before I realized you could get the components and your armor back too if you disassembled the T85 version, which is less than half the cost.
I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah, everyone always says to disassemble Dragon Rider lances, but apparently if you
That's what I did.
Yeah, and I don't know how this compares to Dragon Rider lances in cost. I haven't done that, but apparently, yeah, if you make the tier 80 God Wars 2 armor tier 85 and level it up, you get the base armor back along with getting the components that you want, which is pretty dang shocking.
Shocking 3? No.
Let me see if there's anything else good in this thread, or if that's about it.
I am 1.8 million away from 118 attack. I am looking forward to getting this done. They're 2 million apart. Do you think I should do 120 magic at Muspa or more Abbey Demons?
I think Abbey Demons are pretty good for magic.
They are good for anything, from my understanding. Maybe not range, but I could do magic here as well. I think Muspa is a little more money per hour.
I don't know. I mean, if they're equally AFK, I don't really know much about.
They are equally AFK. The only difference is they use ancient magics, but they drop their own blood runes. You end up making more blood runes than you use. Same, they drop a bunch of death runes too. drop a bunch of spines and elder charms, which can be turned into those pouches that are super valuable.
One of
I
my
don't
favorite
know.
things about this thread is like, because like this one right here, didn't know that the cart guy in Karamja took you to Shiloh Village. I was going to do some Karamja
Aw.
diaries for daily teleports. But then like there's so many of these that have someone commenting like, wait, really? And this one has the OP being like, wait, there's a guy that takes you to Shiloh Village? Like a lot of these are like you think it's dumb, but then you realize like almost nobody knows this. That's kind of the depth of this game.
Yeah.
Which like, you know, we've had a lot of comments today like go play World of Warcraft, and that game is other we talked about a lot of shit. It's also way less in depth than RuneScape. Like there's not this, which maybe that's probably why it's more popular. But part of what I like about RuneScape is how the minutia of the game and how in depth it is. Also, I was going to say this about World of Warcraft. That guy who says
RuneScape.
new expansion coming out soon in WoW, you should go play that. So World of Warcraft gets one new expansion every 2 or so years, and then each expansion gets three, generally 3 updates, 2 or 3 updates within it. So
Mhm.
if you're used to weekly content with like at least one new thing a month that you want to do, like there World of Warcraft content droughts is like 100% a real thing. Like when a new expansion comes out in that game, it's great to play. You'll play 3 months or 6 months or something like that. But then most people are gonna be burnt out and done because there's just not a ton of content coming in. So if you are legitimately considering hopping games, like keep that in mind. Like one of the things that makes RuneScape awesome is how often we get updates.
Yeah, that's one thing that the community is fervent about is our update schedule. I think it's actually a Guinness World Record. I think this is the most updated game of all time. Fatty saying I bought 100 siphons instead of charges at 100%, 100%, 10% over GE price. Icon looks too similar. Yeah, I would agree with that. There's a lot of problems with the invention items, and their similarity in names and functionality can be drastically different and or devastating. I've watched people accidentally disassemble gear just
But
because the items look so similar. Good.
I don't see Fatty's comment. I'm just confused.
It's I'm looking over on Twitch chat.
Yeah, I guess my Twitch chat's just broken right now. Weird. Here's
Oh, I'm sorry. No, that was David. My bad. Is that David? No, Died to Bleed is Fatty, right?
yeah. It's
Yeah,
just
okay.
for some reason not showing for
No,
me.
Twitch chat. I had to refresh Twitch chat to even get it to work. So anytime Games Done Quick does their event, Twitch just goes down the tube.
Yeah,
So that's
fair.
probably the problem. Anyway,
Okay, next one here.
it made me second guess
Oh no,
names. Sorry,
I was just commenting on how broken Twitch chat is for me.
it is
Okay,
broken.
in RuneScape Classic, when I first started playing, I asked my mate what the best weapon was: a rune two-hander or a rune large. Rune large was a helmet. Fuck my life.
How do you? How do you? I don't even know. I mean, I did some dumb stuff in RuneScape Classic. There's that strength level. I did some dumb stuff in RuneScape Classic, but it was normally me falling for dumb scams or something like that. Like,
Oh, this
I
one.
spent a lot.
Oh, go
Okay.
ahead.
I spent a lot more time wandering around talking to random people when I was younger. I didn't care as much about XP grind. Good.
Yeah, I think that's the community was so different back then. I would like to bring back less and less of the efficiency scape shit that goes
It
on
would
in
be
the game.
nice. I don't know how you could do that though.
Just
I would
talk
love to
more.
see it.
Just do it.
Just don't like. That's the problem. Like, how do you stop the XP grind
Well, you
to
could do it on a
do?
personal level. Like you're at the max guild, like actually say hi to people. Maybe people won't respond there, but like I don't know what I do is like
But have
now
you like when chat does respond, World 84 comes to mind.
sometimes, but yeah, I mean it's a problem. There is always that risk, but you can. I don't know. Like I made a friend like a week ago just by doing that. I just like said
Sure.
hi in the GE in Prif, and
That's actually one of my goals right now. I'm going to play a little bit old school RuneScape. I'm not really leveling. I'm on free to play. I'm just going to talk to people at the GE and see if anyone wants to talk to me. Anything weird happens. Someone tries to scam me, something like that. See what
it's
happens.
definitely harder now. Like there, and you're right that there is a lot of toxicity, but like if you keep at it, you will absolutely make awesome new friends. So it's like, but it's definitely like I don't know. you could also create a clan that would be like that. Like if you made like a huge clan in like one world, I don't know, like I mean, our clan is kind of that where I think that's kind of where a lot of people talk now more is in their clans, but even like it's hard because like I've kind of gotten to the point where I ignore general chat, and so people probably try to talk to me and I miss it, but I know that like I try to say hi to a clanny and they don't notice, which is like fair because like you're just running around doing shit, so it's not as easy as it used to be. But I have had success with just saying hi, or if you're skilling somewhere and someone else shows up, like Abbey Demons suck because that's a competitive task. But like if you're fishing or if you're trading at Portables is a bad example too because that's just hell chat. But anywhere where there's only a couple people and not like 5 million people, just saying hi can actually make a big difference and lead to a friend every once in a while. Anyways, the last thing I want to read here. I didn't know that if you augmented and got geared to level 9 and then disassembled, you got 4 times the components. I was disassembling base armor straight off the GE. That one hurts.
That's expensive. That is an expensive oopsie doodle.
It really is.
Anything else? Should I read out the closings or?
Nope, that's it. My voice is almost gone, so.
All right.
Time to end the show.
I appreciate everyone who took the time to come out live. Thank you so much. In the meantime, you can find us on social media. We got a
actually, real quick, before I forget, I'm going to plug myself. Check out my Twitch channel, Queen of Blaze. I'm streaming basically every day right now.
Yeah, it's pretty great.
If you want to see some content. Plus, I got affiliated, so you can, come by and give me bits or sub to me, whichever one you like.
I want to do some Elite Dungeons with you. You should stream some Elite Dungeons with me later if you're around.
Yeah, I have stuff I gotta do this afternoon, and it depends how my voice feels. Because right now it's like completely gone.
Yeah, we've done a lot today, but if you're free in the evening, but anyway, Queen of Blaze on Twitch, definitely follow and watch. I'm there on occasion as well. Anyway, Facebook for you, facebook.com/rsweekly. Got a Twitter for you as well @rsweekly. Discord is discord.runeweek.com. You can, if you have the time, please rate us and review us on iTunes. Don't forget to subscribe on YouTube, like the video, follow us on Twitch, all that fun stuff. If you want to check out our different links, we have a clan chat, Kill, Skill, and Chill. You can check us out at runescape.club. That is our Rune Clan rankings. If you want to check out my Rune Clan progress, that's runescape.expert. You can also check out our YouTube archives at runescape.video. And if you want to check out the podcast archive, you can go to runescape.today. If you'd like to help us out on a monetary level, you can check out our Patreon. That's patreon.com/runescape. We have all sorts of benefits for pledging there. We post the pre-shows to the shows. And sometimes we do like live streams that were done on channels that don't save videos and stuff. We'll post the videos there if they weren't done on my channel, like Pern stuff and whatnot. You can find that there occasionally as well. There's also backlogged elite shows from past years and whatnot. There's tons of stuff available at patreon.com/runescape. Support what we do here. Keep the show going. Big special thanks to our top Patreon supporters, including David, Ephicxstix, Sudwood, Ricky A, Cody T, and Naura. Thank you so much for your ongoing support. It really means a lot to me to be able to do the show on a regular basis. And that's not just to our top Patreon supporters, but whatever you're pledging, thank you so much for doing so. It keeps the show running. It keeps me running. So thank you very much. And we will be back to do it all over again next week. And that's going to do it for the show. So thank you for tuning in. And as always, happy skating.